Hi, this is Brian Kim. I'm going to share with you this case of a patient who was referred for a dislocated IOL. And you're going to soon discover how this case is a little bit unique from other dislocated IOLs I have had. What I mean by that is this dislocated IOL, Haptic, is hooked within the pupil. As you can see, this is a patient at the slit lamp. And if you pay close attention, the lens is dislocated inferiorly. You can see one of the haptics is hooked on the pupillary edge, like a fishhook. And so this patient has a tilted, dislocated IOL inferiorly, and we're going to go ahead and fix this. So again, this patient's a young man referred for a dislocated IOL in the left eye, history of congenital cataract. The other eye is phakic and clear. Patient underwent cataract surgery about 10 to 15 years ago, but had poor vision, I suspect maybe due to amblyopia. But about 3 months ago, noticed a sudden loss of vision in the left eye. So the preoperative uncorrected visual acuity is about count fingers at 3 feet, and the manifest refraction is a plus 15.5 with plus 1.25 cylinder. Now I've documented the Ks here, and the Ks are 40.25 and 43.50, so about 3 diopters of corneal astigmatism. And at the end of the case, I'll show you what the uncorrected postoperative visual acuity is. So you can see this is the eye. You can see the fishhook haptic hooked on the pupillary edge. I'm going to make my incision first on the right side and then the left side. These are my paracentesis incisions, making sure I'm flat to iris plane. This is some intracameral epinephrine. You can see how loose this lens is, and the patient has a pretty big eye. And this is when I realized this patient's posterior capsule is intact. And so this patient had cataract surgery. I guess the anterior capsule must have not been intact. So the surgeon just left the patient with a 3-piece lens passively fixated in the ciliary sulcus. So I make my incision. I'm pushing more dispersive viscoelastic. And so I'm thinking to myself, the patient has an intact posterior capsule. Obviously, the anterior capsule has fused to the posterior capsule many years ago. So I've decided to make a posterior capsulorhexis. These are the sharp tip Moria microrhexis forceps. I punctured through the center fairly easily, but as you see, because I just make a hole, I'm trying to create a rhexis, and there's no way to create a flap because there's no sharp edge. I just have a puncture here, almost like a mini rhexis. And so I'm not going to be able to make a capsulorhexis very easily here. And so I'm just trying to grab and see what I'm going to do. I'm grabbing, and all it's doing is just creating tension on the posterior capsule. So this is when I realize I have to just cut the posterior capsule and then make a sharp edge to create the flap. I'm pushing a little dollop of dispersive viscoelastic underneath the hole as well, just to tampen out any potential vitreous. And remember, I'm actually doing this posterior capsulorhexis with the IOL in the eye. So it's a little bit of a tricky maneuver. You can see how large this patient's sulcus space is because I'm able to push that lens out of the way. Get rid of that bubble. And remember, the posterior capsule is much, much thinner than the anterior capsule. So doing rhexis with the posterior capsule is a little bit more tricky and a higher risk for runout. So I'm going very slowly all across. I've gotten about 1/4 of the rhexis completed. I'm going around, turning the corner here. I have about half of the rhexis completed now. It's very important that you grab that edge of the rhexis flap appropriately here. Now you can see I went all the way around. Fortunately, it did not radialize out. And so this is the last bit remnants that I have to just finish off the rhexis. Just trying to find the edge so it doesn't just run out on me. And again, because it's all mixed with the viscoelastic above and below, it's just hard to grab the edge of the flap of the posterior capsulorhexis. So there you go. I finished it. And so now I'm going to very carefully, with the viscoelastic cannula, just buttonhole this IOL through the posterior capsulorhexis. Fortunately, I made the rhexis small enough that it can accommodate the IOL. So now that the posterior capsulorhexis was performed and this 3-piece sulcus IOL is optic captured through the posterior capsulorhexis, I start to irrigate manually the dispersive viscoelastic. I do not think it's a good idea to try to use mechanical IA in this situation. You don't want to overpressurize the anterior chamber and then push a pressure head of fluid into the posterior segment, which would just then invite vitreous forward. Just making sure that the lens is still in optic capture configuration, and then I'm hydrating my incisions. And so this is a rather interesting case, a unique case, and that's why every case is different. This patient presented with sudden loss of vision, had a congenital cataract. There's this hook of the haptic. The haptic was hooking the edge of the pupil. You can see here I make another incision for the anterior chamber maintainer, and then I make a temporal surgical PI with the retractor here. Anytime you have a sulcus lens, I think it's a good idea to go ahead and place a surgical PI temporally. Of course, you can always do it later with a laser. So there's a surgical PI. Carefully take the AC maintainer out and then hydrate the incision. So again, you can see the optic capture configuration of the lens. Again, this patient had an intact posterior capsule. Presumably, the patient had a radial runout of the anterior capsule, so the surgeon just left the lens in the sulcus passively fixated with no optic capture. But this is a patient postoperatively. You can see the lens is nice and centered, and you can see the capsulorhexis edge right here. The patient has a nice, well-centered lens, again, with a posterior capsulorhexis fixating this through an optic capture configuration. So again, this is a young gentleman with a dislocated IOL of the left eye, had a unilateral congenital cataract in that eye, presumably with some amblyopia, had cataract surgery 10 to 15 years ago, sudden loss of vision with a dislocated lens with the haptic hooking the pupillary edge. Post-op, uncorrected visual acuity ended up 2200, and the manifest refraction was a -2 3/4 plus 2 3/4. And remember, I told you that the corneal astigmatism was around 3 diopters, which is consistent with this patient's refractive outcome, and which tells you that the lens is sitting appropriately with optic capture through the posterior capsulorhexis. This patient was satisfied with the vision, and even though it is a weak eye, he could tell dramatic improvement in the vision after the surgery. So I hope this was helpful to you, and I thank you for your attention.